What are the biggest challenges the Special Criminal Court in Bangui is facing right now?
The biggest challenge is being able to investigate the responsibilities of those that cause these crimes to be committed. And there is, and there are throughout the Central African Republic, thousands of people who can describe horrible incidents of their village being burned, of their family members being raped and murdered and taken. And the question is developing the investigation which holds specific individuals responsible for that. And then when you develop that investigation, you need witnesses who can testify to those lines. I mean, it's one thing to have witnesses who testify to the horrors that happened to them, but when they proceed to talk about who did it, or they proceed to identify people, then they become enormously at risk. And the ability to protect those individuals who provide that kind of information that can hold serious offenders to account. And this occurs in the context of an ongoing conflict, which has erupted, frankly, in terms of insecurity. I mean, the CAR actually rates right now as across the country the most dangerous place in the world, more dangerous than Syria, more dangerous in terms of human life and human ability to survive than any country in the world. Just there is no security east to west, north to south. So doing all of this investigation in that context and doing it in an independent and fair way that meets the expectations of those that have suffered is an enormous challenge and one in which this court, I think, is best placed to handle, but it'll need a lot of assistance.
What have you taken away from the last 2 days of partage d'expérience, of experience changing here in Dakar?
Well, I thought it was a really exciting session, and we had individuals that have been appointed as magistrates who will be in the prosecution, as they say in French, the parquet, and those that will be among the judges of instruction. The most exciting aspect of this, and I really salute Wayamo in this regard, is the interface between those that were engaged in that Habre prosecution and trial here in Senegal, which is probably the greatest success for international justice in this decade. And I'm saying that in a decade that's finally seen some successes in the ICC and some big ones in the International Criminal Court, International Criminal Tribunals. But to actually try here in Africa, a former chief of state, do it in a national court, albeit with some international participation from the AU, but with very active participation of victims and their advocates and NGOs, is really, as I see, a model of what can succeed in the future. And what was appropriate here is that the system of justice, which is unfamiliar to those of us that come from North America or from the United Kingdom, of civil law and of the kind of way in which a trial happens in a civil law inquisitorial system, succeeded and succeeded in a very efficient way. And so the lessons that we learned, and we had the participation of Ambach Fall, the public minister, in other words, the prosecutor of that court, and the president of the Chambre d'Assises, the court which tried Habre, and that president came from Burkina Faso, was an international appointee of the AU and had been a former judge of the ICTR dealing with the Rwanda genocide. That engagement between a court that succeeded and this one that now faces these challenges, I think was the most exciting thing about this, because most of the international courts have tended to follow a more adversarial model and haven't done it on the continent of Africa, and haven't done it with relatively limited resources, which was also the situation with the extraordinary African chambers in Senegal dealing with the Habre case.
Thank you very much.
Sure thing.